I got my 3D printer last summer, and I've been watching and creating tons of content that helps beginners like me learn the basics and build a strong foundation. I'm Ro, and in this video, I'll be diving into abrasive filaments, focusing on Bambu Lab's Sparkle PLA. I'll go over how these filaments differ from other PLAs, the tool I use to remove the PTFE tube. I'll also tackle nozzle clogs in this video and wrap up with my final thoughts on working with abrasives. So let's get started. Based on Bambu Lab's recommendation, you can print this material with a 0.4mm stainless steel hot end, which is what you'll see in this video. I printed a little over an hour with this material, so I'm not worried about degraded prints. I plan on swapping out the hot end pretty soon anyway to hardened steel. I got one of the filament bundles they were selling during Christmas. At the time of editing the video, it looks like they're sold out. For those who missed out on the deal, these colors are available year-round. This bundle saved me about $10 to $15 versus buying them separately. What I like about this filament is the subtle shine in the final print. The reflectiveness is caused by mixing in metal particles, which differs from their Galaxy PLA. It's hard to see the sparkle in some of the colors, specifically the onyx color, when looking at it on the roll, but in the final print, you'll be able to see the shiny features a lot more. If you like what you're seeing so far, feel free to subscribe to get more content like this. If you're not sure what filament to buy, my advice is to keep it simple. There are many materials to print with, but I would stick with PLA. There are a few different types out there. Silk PLA has an overall metallic look in the final print. Matte PLA is very dull, and you won't see the layer lines as much compared to regular or silk. Regular PLA is somewhat shiny. It's a standard printing material for beginners and is useful for most prints. However, if you want to print something with durability, I would look into PETG or ABS. Here's a detailed look at the final print. Overall, I really like it. I was expecting it to be more sparkly, but when the lighting is right, you can really see the particles throughout the model. Unfortunately, with this material, I did experience quite a few clogs when printing swatches of each color. But later in this video, I go over a few tips on how to avoid that. Although it says this filament is compatible with the AMS light, I chose not to use it. I printed this tool to release the tube from the filament hub so I can connect it to the external spool. With the tool in one hand, press down on the black clamp holding the tube in place. With your other hand, firmly pull the tube upwards. If you are struggling to pull it out of the hub, you might not be pressing down hard enough. Be a little cautious here, as too much force can risk damage to the end of the tube. Once that's done, simply take one end of the PTFE tube, insert it into the filament hub, and then connect it to the clamp on the external spool. I keep mine clipped to the top of my machine since I do use this a lot. Give it a tug to make sure it's clamped down. If there's damage on the ends, you can just snip it off. There should be enough length so it still reaches the AMS and the hub. Hang the roll on the arm and feed or push the filament through the tube until you feel resistance. You're manually feeding the PLA directly into the hub. Now looking at the printer screen, go to Filament, select External Spool and click Load. What this does is it will flush out any leftover material from the previous print job, and it will continue until the new PLA comes out. I noticed that in between prints, the filament would easily clog. To get through the swatches of each color, I would unload the Sparkle PLA to clear out the nozzle and reload any non-abrasive PLA. I'm sure there's a more efficient way of handling color swaps, but in my experience, when I've let it cool in the chamber, it caused a clog for the next print. After 15 minutes of printing time, nothing was on the bed and it was printing mid-air with nothing coming out. So this is why when printing anything, I ensure the first few layers have adhered to the bed correctly before walking away. It's rare that I'll leave a print running overnight. I would rather check on it every hour or so during the day. I do believe Bambu printers are essentially plug and play, but they're not necessarily something you walk away from entirely during a very long print. In my experience, anything and everything has gone wrong. Put your printer in maintenance mode, then set your nozzle temp to 95 degrees Celsius. While it heats up, remove the cover plate with a dull and thin object to release it from its hinges. At this point, make sure to use tools or gloves when handling the printer parts. They are very hot. Once it's hot enough, remove the black silicone. It's called a heat sock. To expose the clips, move them outwards away from the center. Remove the hot end and you should see the clogged filament. With pliers or something to grip on, pull the stuck filament until it's fully removed from the hot end. And that's it. Reassemble everything and reload the filament so that it's extruding correctly through the hot end and the nozzle. With any new filaments I get, I love to swatch them and add it to my library. I find it's a handy way for me to see the filaments I have in stock and how it will look when it's finished. I plan on breaking this video out into shorts, so stay tuned for that. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and of course YouTube. I'd love your feedback. Let me know if this was helpful and do you feel you've learned something. I want to make sure I'm delivering valuable content worth your time. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of any new content. Thanks for watching.